Ladies and gentlemen, we take the opportunity to introduce our board of members. We usually go from the left to the right.
Good evening. My name is Rich Johnson. I live in the Crabapple area.
I'm Tim Bryan. I have a business here at Crabapple.
Marty Littleton. I live on Freemanville.
Tony Shepard, Nettlebrook Farms.
Can I get someone to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Can I get someone to make a motion to approve the April minutes?
Motion to approve the April meeting minutes as submitted.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Demos, we have none. Number 6, final reviews. Let's bring up Chick-fil-A at 5180 Windward Parkway. Ellen? You're not Ellen. How are you?
Good. Please state your name and address for the record. And you're going to be putting stuff out, right?
Started.
I have a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know if you can see it.
I can see you in multiple places.
All right, it's not up there, that's all.
It's here.
Okay, my name is Stuart Anderson. I'm with Interplan. I'm here on behalf of Chick-fil-A. We're the architects and engineers working on this project with Chick-fil-A. We're here to talk about the site located on Windward Parkway. It's in front of the Walmart Supercenter. Get rid of that thing. It should be on your screens now. Yep. Yeah, and just a thing on just me. Huh? We're seeing. Just work around it. Anyway, we're on Windward Parkway in front of the Walmart Supercenter. It's an existing Chick-fil-A that we're looking to do some remodeling with. Right now, you can see we've got access off of the shopping center entrance road. There's some parking for Walmart directly behind our site, and there's some existing access over by the Chase Bank. Currently, we have a few concerns about the way things are working out there. We have some drive-through lane stacking that can back up, disrupting flow in the site. Congestion can occur at the driveway onto the shopping center entrance road. Only one menu board, Walmart parking spaces back up to the shopping center access drive. Some of the proposed solutions we have is to provide 2 menu boards, provide 2 lanes of stacking at the menu boards, relocate the driveway from the shopping center entrance road to the rear internal shopping center access drive, direct drive traffic stack around the building by installing a median between the drive-through and north drive aisle, relocate handicap spaces but not to cross both drive-through lanes. So everything we're doing here is to help with the traffic circulation that we have at the Chick-fil-A. It's a very busy location, and we're trying to improve things. We wanted to add a second menu board and a double lane stacking around the building so that we can get cars through there a lot quicker than they're getting through there today. We're also going to close the driveway and relocate it to try to help with the circulation to force the car to stack around the building and not out onto the surrounding roads. So the first thing we're going to do, we've talked to Walmart, and we'll be obtaining 25 feet of property from them. That will give us the opportunity to shift our parking spaces over to give us more room up against the building to add that second queue lane and the second menu board. We're also going to close the driveway that opens out onto the shopping center entrance road and relocate that around the side so that it now accesses the internal shopping center instead of the main entrance to the shopping center. Okay, we're also going to push the curb out 3 feet on the entrance side. That'll give us a little bit more room so we can provide a 10-foot drive against the building and then still have almost a 13-foot bypass on the building, at the front of the building where it's the tightest circulation that we have. Here's the idea of what's going to happen now that we're making these changes. Cars will be forced to come in from the shopping center or from the Chase Bank driveway. We're going to install a drive-through lane separator, highlighted there in yellow. That will allow everyone to circle the building to get in line with the drive-through. That way, stacking will now back up around the building We've got one-way circulation, and I think that'll improve the way that cars get into the site, on site. And then the red arrows show the exit pattern, how they would head back out after getting their food. Okay, and then we're also going to be relocating the handicap spaces. Right now, they would cross over 2 drive-through lanes, so we're going to push them to the front of the building so they only have to cross where the drive-through lane's only one lane wide. Okay, now on to the building. We're in the Deerfield Highway 9 area of town. I included this because I wanted to point out that Family Care Urgent Care Center. They've got those black awnings over the windows there, and that's something that we're looking to incorporate very similar to what they did there. We're in the Zone T5 area. Okay, the modifications to the building, we're looking to add 452 square feet to expand the kitchen and the service yard to provide faster drive-through service, install an order canopy to protect customers and team members from the elements for face-to-face ordering. Also going to install black canopies for the doors, windows, and rear facade faux windows. Here's what the building looks like now. You can see we've got that red channeling there at the front of the building. And around side, this is the drive-through stacking side. The menu board's off to the right. As we continue around, there's the menu board at the rear of the existing building. It's a red canopy now, not be changing. And then here's the pickup window side, what it currently looks like. And the front again. Here's what the new elevations are going to look like. We're going to pull off that bending and put the black awnings over the windows. Kind of clean it up with a little bit more modern look. Kind of looks like what I showed you at the beginning in that your cover of your code book that they did at the urgent care. You can see to the right there, that's the canopy that's going to be over the ordering area. There's a side entry perspective. Here's the menu boards at the front of the canopy. Another view of the canopy that we're proposing. Again, similar to the industrial style appearance of that urgent care center that we saw in the code. And then here's the rear with some faux window treatment and the awnings over it. And then onto the drive-through pickup side. Again, around to the front. So that concludes my presentation. I have representatives from Chick-fil-A here with me to answer questions you may have. We can go back through some of those images.
I am one of your strongest supporters in terms of customers. I come to the store probably 3 times a week. So I appreciate you trying to improve the traffic. But one of the things that I want to, has anybody done a traffic study or account on the true traffic pattern at that particular intersection with McDonald's? Because McDonald's wanted to do the same thing. They wanted to double up their line. We certainly had comment about it. For whatever reason, it just hasn't happened yet because they just don't have much space like you.
Yeah, we feel, I mean, I don't know all the details about the McDonald's, but I believe their menu boards were visible from the street, whereas ours are behind the building. It's on the back side.
Right.
It's not visible from the street. I think we really need the improved circulation and the improved ordering capabilities that allows to having with the second drive-through lane.
But do we have a factual knowledge base of what the traffic count really is for the store for that intersection? And how many more cars does this intersect by changes? Does it allow for additional cars? Because, for example, I know for a fact that if I want to go to Chick-fil-A, I got to go park in Walmart because that's where I park to walk over because the traffic is so bad at that intersection. And quite frankly, I go in from, the Walmart side off of 9, pull back over past Arby's and all that to come back that way. The question I'm really trying to get to is that I would like to see personally a little bit more thought into with the architect and our engineering for traffic to determine whether or not there's a way we can design this to where the influx of traffic comes in at the Chase Bank entrance and exits that entrance. Because what I see is when you, can you go back to the,
Pull up your traffic pattern.
pull your traffic pattern, because this is what I want to point out. Because, I mean, I'm really in tune to going to that store a lot. So when you see the cars coming out, you got two. So you have two coming in, they're going to back out to make, you were there, we're not there now.
Excuse me?
You were there. Can you just move your mouse?
Oh, there you go. Okay. So where you got your red and your blue, will you come out now?
The red would be the exit.
Right, but you got,
But everybody's coming in and it's one-way circulation, so all the parking for the drive-through is gonna wrap around the building. So keeping all our traffic on site. The one driveway at the rear towards the Walmart, we're putting in that traffic separator so they can't short circuit the line. They've got to go around the building to get in line. They can't get directly into the drive-through lane.
and the total number of cars coming out of that entrance, they're going to make a right-hand turn and go to the McDonald's entrance to exit.
Well, that's where the light is, yes.
So-
I think Marty, what he's saying is the way that this stacks, it doesn't matter where they put the double lane, quite frankly. Because you're going to come in, you're going to sit in the double lane, and if that gets full, then it's going to wrap around and go all the way back around to Chase. And so, like, you can move the double stack, quite frankly, anywhere on the building. It's going to effectively result in the same type. When you close off those parkings and make the one entrance and one exit, it's going to make it where, it doesn't matter where it is, it's all going to loop around the building, if that makes sense.
I don't, if I can interject, I don't think Marty's talking about the double lane. That's a good position.
It's not the double
He's
lane.
worried about entrance. It's to me like he's more worried about where the location of the revised entrance is.
See, right now what happens is where the entrance currently is, everybody's going to make a right to get into the single line that you've got, which is probably 10 cars, roughly, I would guess. I understand you're going to improve it, but the traffic's still trying to make that left-hand turn. It's still going to be the same problem with the exits and the turning from that entrance.
But we've pushed it around the corner, so there's more stacking now. At the entrance, they've got to further,
Have you met with Carter Lucas yet?
no, I'm not sure who that is.
Carter would be that's the right person, isn't it, Bob? For traffic?
Carter and Sarah would be the
Right.
cause of the ultimate decision on what happens with it.
Did we?
No.
Okay.
I think I did meet with Sarah briefly on this.
See, before I could even say that I would vote for this, would be that I would want to know what Carter's opinion is and have it specific.
And I'm not sure how any sort of traffic study would help here. I mean, you can see from the circulation pattern, what we're doing is improving on what's there today. So that's our whole goal, is to make it better than it is today. And we've done that by providing the one-way circulation around the building, and now you can't short circuit, get into the drive-through lane. You've got to go around the building. So we're going to keep our traffic on our site. Our stacking for our drive-through lane is going to stay on our site and not impact the surrounding roads.
See, and that's where you disagree.
Yeah, it'll still stack.
Okay, it's not going to impact it any worse than it is today.
Yeah, the stacking that they had before, you may be talking
It was cutting and cross.
5 cars
And now
there.
they're allowed that to happen is,
I mean, you would have 5 or say 6 cars stacked up right there and then them backed up onto the access road in between.
exactly.
Now, you could probably have the capacity to stack 25 cars on premises,
Exactly.
the way they've got it
See,
laid out.
like, because basically what was happening is
Well, really,
everybody was
if you look
going
at this right here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, you've
there's
got
15
the whole,
cars.
You've got the whole perimeter of the building, essentially.
Before, no one was going around the perimeter of the building. They were just going to
Come
the
in
access
and you would
road.
immediately, boom, you would be stopped or you would be backed up onto the access road.
This way,
Well, see, that's where I'd like to see it backed up is on the access road.
No.
at
Talking about the
lunchtime, you'll
access
see it back
road.
on the access road.
You're talking about the access road that's on the north side. I'm talking about where you're backed up now is the main access road
Right.
into Walmart, into McDonald's, and that's not where you want to be backed up.
Right, now, and I'm saying that I'd like to see us backed up on the Walmart side if it's going to back up.
Well, they will, because that's where the access point is.
That's where the new road is going to open.
That north entrance is on the north side. That's the Walmart side. So you're going to come in, you're either back up at that entrance or you're going to back up at this entrance. And those are both the access road.
Bob, was this Sarah and Carter's approved, what they wanted to see done?
Carter hasn't approved it. Carter hasn't approved it yet. He'd have to really look at it and approve it.
And that is my concern. My concern is still whatever is the best traffic. I appreciate the effort to try to mitigate the traffic that's in that section. But for those of us that go there all the time, every day, and we'd like to see it be the best that it can be. Are you right? You're right that it's going to be better than what it is. But the truth was, the building was built and that entrance was built. Everybody said this was going to be great. And 4 or 5 years later down the line, we've all grown as a community. Chick-fil-A's improved in terms of their performance out of this particular store. And I'd just like to see us have a longer window of growth where, because your volume of your business is going to pick up commensurate with the ability to put the cars. I'd like to see the cars coming.
Well, we've expanded on the property. We've added 25 feet at the back from Walmart. I mean, there isn't much more room to go in any direction. So we tried to push the curbs out as far as we can and keep all our traffic on our site.
Marty, would it help to see like larger plan if they came back with something that's bigger, shows all the traffic like interacting in that area?
The general concept for me is that I want to be able to see how these cars are going to come and go. If we're going to be able to in some way induce people to use the other entrance by Chase Bank versus the McDonald entrance as much as we can, or use it to be where that is the exit for Chick-fil-A, going out that exit of Chase, or because Chase it doesn't cut across there to the left. I understand if they want to go out to make a left, they have choices, but to go to McDonald's, Chick-fil-A line.
When you did this, do you know number-wise, how many cars were you able to accommodate up to the ordering board? And how many cars are you able to accommodate now, the way you've got this laid out?
I don't have the exact numbers with me now, but I think you're on point when you're saying that from the menu boards, you have maybe 8 or 10 before you get up to the driveway right here.
And doing that, you've blocked the exit for the cars coming out of the drive-through,
Yes.
essentially.
See this, we've also got this hatched out area here, and we'll have signs up not to block this intersection right here.
Right.
So that the exiting car will be able to come over. We've got room for 2 lanes through here, so they'll be able to come out and exit here. So, I mean, theoretically, a car could come here and they'd go all the way around the building. They'd end up doing 2 laps because you're going to come through here, order, and then go through to the window and then exit back out again. And by keeping this exit here, then you're not intermixing traffic along this line.
Yeah.
The
I know
problem's
there's-
still going to come to the people making a left to go into your entrance, and the people wanting to make a left or a right.
I know there's a Chick-fil-A on 92 that has a very similar layout as this, as far as requiring you to drive all the way around the building and then come into the.
That one flows real
freeways.
well.
Yeah, it flows well. I
Is
mean,
that the one at
cars move.
Target?
Yeah,
That one flows
that's the
really well.
same, that's the same.
But you know, that one has 2 entrances, though. You go right there, right between it, and then you also have the one that's at the light. You can come back through that way. So you actually either turn off right, get to it by making a left on that one, or you can go to the stoplight, make a right, and come to it from that direction. And in that particular case, you do have to drive all the way around the building to get to the place to order, so the cars do stack up.
So
I'm not saying this is perfection to any, I'm not trying to be so critical. What I'm trying to be is interested in, do we know for a fact how this traffic's going to behave? And the answer is no, we don't. Because I watch these people blow their horns and get upset, and they're making that left. I'm just telling you, you may get more cars, and I think that your capacity is you're going to have a lot more cars, and you're going to still have the same problem. It's just going to move the problem to the stop sign versus where it is now.
So I'm Joseph Ladner from Chick-fil-A. I appreciate y'all hearing this tonight because we really would love to make this a better situation. So the number of cars up to this in front of the building will be about 20. Because right now we've got about 10 to this point. So if you count the number of cars all the way around to the back, it's about 35 to get to this arrow right here. So if you continue around to where this entrance is, that would be like car 40 or 42. So generally speaking, right now, we back out into the street by the time we, like you said, by the time we get to about car 7 or 8. So now we're going to increase that to about 40 until it backs out into the street.
Yeah, so I think, Marty, one thing, they've got this lane separator here. You can see everything on the
Right on.
yellow. So it's going to prevent cars from sitting right there at the end, trying to cut in the line. Even if there was 0 cars in line, you're going to have to drive all the way around the building and get in the line.
Correct.
So your traffic behavior is not going to result in people being dumped out into the Walmart parking lot. They're going to come in, they're going to drive around, they're going to loop in. That's going to keep happening and stacking until you basically have a whole thing wrapped around the building.
I get it. I mean, I get
Well,
that.
if you had 42 cars stacked up today, they would be backed up all the way to Windward.
You'd be in Windward Parkway.
But they're already backed up to Windward as it
Yeah, but
is.
they're accommodating, if they go from 7 to 42, that's 6 times the capacity.
Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to point out that it's going to just change the problem to be at the stop sign versus,
I think it'd be a
Entrance
good
where it
idea
is.
to show how
I'm-
many cars are actually going to queue, because Carter's going to want that anyway.
He's here, is he not?
He left.
So
He's not just going to approve it based on a schematic.
I mean, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in Carter and Sarah, as far as track pattern goes, giving their blessing to it. If they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. You know,
So can
I
we-
will tell you that this particular section of Windward, I have complained about for the last 5 years. You know, and quite frankly, it was a poor layout and a poor design, not enough parking, not enough space for the buildings that were put there in the very beginning. It's a problem that became before us. I'm sure it became before you guys.
So, Marty, what would your thoughts be on is if we approve this with the condition that they need to have Carter review their traffic plan, and assuming Carter has no substantial changes, they can go forth and do. I don't want to have these people keep coming back here, waiting a whole nother month.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I think just.
I do not have a problem as long as,
Architecture,
Right,
because
I was
I'm
going to say
not-
that next. So, I mean,
so as
I'm
far
not
as the
really
traffic's concerned,
100% with that.
if it's got Carter's blessing, I'm okay with it.
does that work for you all? Like, I mean,
Sure. And we can also show the cars all the way around, so you can physically count how many cars will be back all the way to the entrance, if that helps.
You know, because we get accused all the time, because we do get accused by people that know that we on these boards. We get accused of that we just approve stuff without giving any question to what this may affect. And I will tell you that when McDonald's came up, I had 3 or 4 of my friends say, well, you know, I don't go to that McDonald's. I don't go because of Chick-fil-A's traffic, and the combination of Chick-fil-A and McDonald's makes it just absolutely impossible to be there. And so you guys plan on doing about it. And then when somebody says they want to come and add something that's going to add more people to that little intersection, they're going to know what guidelines did we follow in order to make sure that we've done the best that we can do. And the best that we can do is, I'm not a traffic expert. I'm assuming that neither one of you guys are. And so if neither one of you guys are traffic experts, then we need to have somebody look at it, as in Carter, that would say, you know, we could, for example, there's one building I go to that says going in a particular direction. The sign says, make a left for north, make a right for south. You know, and so there may be answers like that. I mean, I'm just trying to keep the traffic from bottlenecking that intersection as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, and we have the same goal, so we'll be glad to provide that extra information.
Okay, well then, I'm good as far as this part of the conversation goes. So let's talk about, Bob, you had some thought on architecture?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask to have the application deferred till next month, so we can work with the applicant more on the architecture. We really need to incorporate more detail onto this. The windows in the back need to be more window-oriented, not bricks, because the code requires so much glazing every so many feet. I can quote the sections. The awning needs to have pitch to it somehow, and the code requires that it's pitched, meaning that it has some sort of a roof to it. So we need to look at that. I did ask the applicant even just to kind of show if we were to take the parapet style and attach it and wrap it around, how it would look, and this is not really doing that either. So I think we need a little bit more time.
So let me ask
The
this, Bob.
applicant to really kind of explore this
If-
and get it right.
If we were to say that we would give an approval to what they want, subject to your review of the item things that you've got, and you're approving them.
No, I'd rather make sure that the board sees the final plan.
Okay?
And gets it approved.
I would agree.
Okay.
That's Highway 9 area, and it needs to be reviewed. Yeah, right now, the issue I have, it looks like a gas station, not a restaurant drive-through. I don't know that that's really conducive to what would be a look.
And the flat roof that we did on the dental associates or the health place, whatever it is, what was the reason we allowed that to happen?
There was just like little awnings that were over the window areas. And
So those are also little awnings, though. They match, we had, what's in that building,
I think we were okay with the little awnings on the building.
right?
It was just the drive canopy that I needed more detail on with you guys on to get that more incorporated into the architecture, the rear windows. There was a little median strip that Mark.
Bob, it sounds like you've had a lot of concerns with this. Have you expressed this to the applicant prior to tonight?
I did, and they still wanted to come in, and I thought it would be a good idea to put it in front of the board just to get your feelings for it, and then we can go back and fine tune it, come in, and we'd be done with it.
Well, I would disagree a little bit, because we did have a meeting and we talked about it, and then I sent some information back to you to say, is this what you mean? And I could not get any response. So that's,
I understand and said it
to-
wasn't what we discussed,
but I wanted to make sure that it was right before we came like you did, but couldn't get any response.
and I called up the office and sent emails and said that this is not what it is, and they said, well, we still want to go in front of the board, and maybe we can just get something approved that night. I said, it's not going to get approved because staff's not really happy with it. It's not meeting the code, and we need to get it. So, I mean, I could discuss that with you later, but we've had a lot of correspondence.
I do have some other options that I brought with me since we couldn't get response from you on the glass part that we showed. So I do have some other ways to show it that have windows that actually are physical, like spandrel glass windows.
Right, that's what we discussed. So if you want to show that to the board now, that's great, because if you deferred, I would like to get their opinion on it. It's not going to slow anything down, because you're going to do a concept meeting, and we do that concept between now and the next time we come in, so that we have staff approval, and then it would just be up to the board. Either way, it's not going to slow them down anyway, because we still have to do concept approval.
Okay.
So we could do that between now and then, because he has to get this all done within the next 3 weeks in order to get back in front of you all.
Yes.
So within the next weeks, I can make sure we schedule Carter and get everybody to sign off. Jimmy, everybody would do a concept meeting, we could finalize. But it would be nice if they could show various options to the board tonight, and I'd get your feeling on what you think. What the other options. Hold on, I'll get it on there. I'm learning as we, okay. Are you on?
Yes.
You seeing it? Okay, good.
So this shows the spandrel glass windows with the awnings.
Just move your mouse here. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If on the drive-through, if we're looking for a pitched roof, it could be just a pitched parapet that looks like a roof, right? Going all the way around it.
Well, I gotta incorporate it in the building. I think we can get away with more of a parapet style. Then it looks like extension to the building.
You're talking about like the parapet at the top of the
Totally
building.
free floating. I think it's to have like a real pitch on the roof to make it look more residential
What is the,
than it
is
would
this
be
what
to
you're
have
talking
it as
about?
a harsh.
This is another option that we showed that had a gable on top of it with spandrel glass in the back.
That looks awful.
Is that more?
See, personally, I think it would look better if we used a matching parapet where the parapet is,
Extends. yeah.
extend the building.
That's what I-
And personally, I'd like to see it attached to the building, but
If it was attached and it comes around, it looks like the same parapet, even though it's lower than the original parapet. It will look like addition to the building that it was incorporated into the architecture from day one.
and if you,
Like it was
Do they
added
have that
on.
over the new store over on Avalon? Do they have it on that? They have them.
They don't have canopy over.
They don't have a canopy, but they do have, that store is very custom to what the DRB and Alpharetta wanted,
Yeah.
which was totally different from their standard. And it took many iterations to go back and forth to get that store.
so the entrance to the restaurant itself is just for this canopy, correct?
It's right here.
So if your roof and covered the sidewalk going to your front door, that'd actually be a nice look, wouldn't it?
It would look like the same parapet
Be a
with
lot
the same
of
detail,
coverage, but yeah.
and it would be lower. It would just look like that addition was a little lower. Yeah, 3 feet high, coming around, wrapping around,
Touching the building.
in the building, and it just looked like the addition was lower.
Same as the,
Same as the building,
So the lighter color.
lighter color, same top.
So are you
Detail?
saying to connect this directly to the side of the building? Is that
that's
what
what I'm saying.
Looks like a gas
Like
station.
3 feet high.
For them to take it all the way, that's
The lighter color.
I was just thinking that from,
here all, I mean, that's over doubling the size of it.
I'm only considering the addition to add to the entrance to the doorways for my own personal well-being, so they don't get wet.
Well, there is already going to be an awning over the entrance. So
When they truck coming, they'll send an employee out and carry an umbrella.
Man, I have to walk from Walmart and get wet.
And the windows in the rear, I would probably, if they could be spandrel, I'd make them a little smaller than the awning, and
Yeah.
you don't have to be all the way down to the
Those
floor.
look
They would just look like more, like maybe up to the band, just to give it a relief there. It doesn't have to be quite as big. We can switch that up too, actually make them smaller and make them work.
I guess the
Or make,
The only concern I've got about with taking and making it go attached to the building, I like the look of the roof. It doesn't serve any functional purpose, for keeping dry, because you walk back in the rain.
but it would look like it was integrated with the architecture from
Yes.
day one. It would look like it was one big, and then it just kind of steps out.
Isn't that top of that building stucco, and that looks like it's brick?
it is stucco.
Okay, so this is the brick renditions, correct?
That's correct. Actually, it does look like it's brick.
I think it is brick.
It's painted brick.
I think it's painted.
You would just
I'm thinking of Zaxby's.
Yeah.
I like the white painted brick for what it's.
I do too, but
painted
the
brick.
building's not painted brick, so it's,
Yeah, it's just a lighter brick.
The only thing I would consider, I know that other folks have thoughts, are on those awnings on the front, if you go back one slide, over the door. If you recall, the north side or the hospital, whatever it was, had
little ties.
ties that were coming off the roof.
Yeah.
I think those
To
would
tie
look
it
just
back
not
and-
over every single window,
Yeah.
just over the doors. I think would be a nice look, but
Yeah,
that's just a
I
small
actually
thing.
think that would be better looking.
Okay, so tiebacks for that, connect the awning to the building and make it 3 feet tall.
I think 3 feet might be good.
What color would you want the
But I
awning
think
to be?
we'd want the awning to match the building
Copy what's on the match the building.
Match the building awnings or the building color?
color.
The light color of the,
You have the very top of the parapet, the brown or black or whatever that is.
yes.
And then what's the comment about this, what's the comment about the spandrel glass on the back?
I think we can work together and just reduce the size of it, making it a little bit smaller, just to give it a relief. It doesn't have to go all the way down to the floor.
You guys aren't re-bricking this whole building, are you?
We're not, it's just a building addition that we're going to try to match the finishes that are on the existing building.
So right now, there's like a AC or a refrigerator back there. Is that all going to be enclosed?
Yeah, so this will be a building addition that will have a freezer, a cooler, an office, and dry storage.
So all that stuff that's back there right now is basically going to be internal.
Right.
Okay.
Can I make another comment?
Sure.
you get wet at the window. Drive-through window, if it's raining hard, you
Yeah,
get wet.
we're gonna have new awning there too.
Okay.
So all the in the building will be new, including ones that we added over the back door and other places.
There's nothing worse than Marty's chicken being soggy in the morning with the rain.
I hear you.
I'm telling you, dude, I should stock.
I wish I could buy
Yeah,
some
right?
chicken.
I think there's a lot of people that might want that
We all
too.
eat there, you know, right?
Yeah,
All online, every.
So our real interest in this building is self-serving.
I understand. And our interest is serving too.
We do not want to get wet. We don't want to wait in traffic. We want it to be fast.
We want to make it the best place we can for
I want my
customers.
ice cream. Tell them they need to get their size of orders on ice cream cones correct.
So basically the conversation we've had here today is to incorporate those changes and work with the city architect to ensure that, you know, everything's done and then come back one more time. Is that something that's amenable to you guys?
If we have to, yeah. I would rather, so one of the things that we've been trying to do is this restaurant has needed this remodel, I mean, as you know, for a really, really long time. And if we have to wait a month to come back, the way that the permitting process works, we probably won't be able to get it done this year. So we'll probably move into next year. So we're really hoping to try to get it started in September.
So let me ask you this. If we defer this and agree to a special call meeting for you, would that be acceptable? In other words, that gives you the opportunity to get back with Carter.
Because the applicant still has to go through the concept review and get approval from all the directors and whatnot. So if I can get that done sooner than the 3-week period, I know Jimmy Sanders wants some sort of proof that you've, purchased the property or got some solidification, because then there's a plat that needs to be changed and whatnot. So there's a lot of, I don't think
All that being,
this will slow them down anyway. We're just going to do it concurrently.
here's what we would say. In fact, all the things line up exactly the way you want them to, and you go quickly if you think you might, I would be willing to entertain the idea of having a special called meeting to get this done earlier than our next meeting, should you need it.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we'll work very hard on the staff end to make sure I coordinate everything, try to get.
So
the things
we're
that
gonna
slow
make
it
a
down
motion to
sometimes
defer.
is like, if you don't have something solidified from Walmart, and then Jimmy Sanders will say, well, how can I approve something on once we approve it, we approve it. How do we approve it when you don't have a proof that you've purchased it or an agreement or something?
So,
Those are the kinds that end up slowing applicants down, not
No,
the review
so
process.
with that agreement though, it's in process, we've got a lease that hasn't been completely signed. So we would have to have all that completely done before this would be approved. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
He would want to make sure he's not going to approve it and then give you the right to start building it without knowing that it's done.
Isn't that all tied to the LDP? I mean, we were under the impression we had to get this approval first, and if we can't even get past the DRB, then it's pointless to the other submittals. So that's why we haven't even started some of the other stuff.
The concept review, once they approve a concept review, you're good to go. You do LDP on some drainage issues if you need an easement or something that might slow you down. But the concept will be, do you have the property? And maybe you can come in and show the director that you have a lease that's ready to be signed, and she can make the concept subject to that lease being executed at the LDP stage. That's to her.
We can submit for that next concept review now without the approval?
Yeah, we do concept reviews every Wednesday, so I would schedule you for next Wednesday. And then you can come in with all these revisions, and we can show it to staff and get everything. If we could do it at that meeting, if you're missing something.
Talking about the elevations?
Yes, the elevations, traffic, making sure that we show the queuing and get Carter or Lucas as well. On the entrance revision and getting everything in. I don't know what other changes. Mark, did you have anything that you wanted or no?
I'd like to see you try to incorporate as much green as you can there, because it just looks like a gas station. It is just a building coming up out of the line. So I don't know if this picture's indicative of what's out there right now. I don't think it is. I know you have some stuff. If there's any way whatsoever we can add more to that, and,
You mean like foundation plantings?
foundation plantings, and if that, divider strip can by any chance be widened, there's not much you can put in there, but still something, just get some greenery in there to put that parking lot. So if there's any way that divider strip can be widened and grassed or something.
Because the divider strip is just a little round plastic stops, right?
What we're doing with the divider strip is it will be about a 2 to 3 foot wide island of some sort, because if it's any narrower, customers tend to trip over it because it's, for whatever reason, hard to see, I guess. It's just a curve. So we have kind of wide, so it's very obvious. But we were planning to put, I think that when we talked before, you suggested putting rock in there because it's going to be so narrow that it's going to be really difficult to have landscape in there that lives. So you had mentioned maybe river rock in that area.
I think somebody else mentioned river rock during that meeting. I remember that being mentioned, and that would be I think if there's any way we could, there's a few other choice greenery materials from ground cover that I think would be applicable in that area that would work. That's something we could look at.
Okay, so
we could use something be low maintenance and we take care of and should.
okay, so for the concept plan, we need to have all these things taken care of. We need to have a landscape plan of some sort. That's kind of planning to do.
Right, and we could set that up for next Wednesday.
I don't think we can get a landscape plan back quickly, but we'll try.
Oh, for next
Perfect.
Do you have to have everything submitted by Wednesday? How does
No,
that
you
work?
just come Wednesday.
Come and bring it Wednesday.
Come and bring it Wednesday. I'd rather you come in on Wednesday, the next Wednesday, even if we don't have everything, and you come the following Wednesday as well, because the more we can meet, the more we can start checking off the elements, and you can just keep revising. I know it's 2 trips, but it would, instead of waiting 2 weeks and then have somebody give you a comment that you could have incorporated. I'm trying to get it as quick as I can so we can get back here. And I promise we're going to work as we can to get it through. So it's just a matter of we meet every Wednesday. It might take 2, 3 trips. By that time, we're done. We should have.
Guys,
a
no. How important
and then we'd be
Chick-fil-A
back in
is.
front of the board. Yeah, I did want to ask that this plan doesn't show the old plan, we had a connection to the Walmart parking lot. There's a lot of people parked there, honestly, and just can't walk over. We don't have any sort of cross connection. I was wondering if there would be a cross connection? See this photo here
I think that's a warm.
is showing
Marty's going through there.
I know where my patch is.
showing some sort of a walkway. The new one,
The shed is-
We're taking out those parking spaces, so we didn't want to encourage people walking over to Walmart.
so I don't know, how does the board feel about that? I know a lot of people do.
I'm confused at what you're talking about, Bob.
I'm not sure.
What he's talking about is walking path going across the access road.
We don't have any legal right to use their parking spaces, so
I think it's kind of an unofficial walkway.
And they don't have one now. A lot of people park here even though they shouldn't, and they do cut through here to get to.
I'm still going to park at Walmart.
Yeah, I don't think it matters one way or the other.
Is that become a company-owned store, or is that still a
So I'll
franchise?
leave it up to Carter when he wants.
the restaurant operator is right here.
Okay. I knew the previous owner had passed away.
You have a great restaurant.
My daughter works there.
Like your employees.
Yeah. Happy with that restaurant every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I think this has, we know what we're doing here. I will say, Bob, to the extent possible, let's try to move this along, make sure it's aligned. I mean, I think that we want to be respectful of businesses that are investing in our community, hiring employees, paying sales taxes, et cetera, because obviously this is an important Chick-fil-A. They do a lot of business there, thus to divert, reinvest in the traffic, but let's see if we can move folks along and get them through as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
And just know, guys, we're not trying to up. It is trying to comply with what the citizens are asking us for instead of just going along the path.
Right, we want to be a good citizen too, so appreciate it.
And your store is a good citizen. Chick-fil-A's been great. I mean, we got problems with it other than the side of the ice cream.
All right. All right, so I'll make a motion to defer such time as the applicant meet with staff and for such time, we'll have a special call meeting to address their approval,
If needed.
if needed.
Okay, so we'll, a special call meeting, when that, if we can get this done in a week, we'll have a special meeting, they'll call it. I just need a few days for notice, public advertisement. And we can get back on the agenda. They'll come in just for you to hear it and then review it and approve it.
Guys, you also need to know, we need to make sure we have a quorum. We have these special call meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, we have, you have a motion, anybody want to second his
Yeah, I'll
motion?
second the motion.
All in favor? See you guys soon. B, Verizon Wireless Rooftop Antenna.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to my company's code of conduct, I have to recuse myself as an employee.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to my competing interests with the applicant, I will recuse myself as well.
But that will not leave us with a quorum, for we cannot vote on it. Takes four.
You need
We have to
four.
four. Missing two people.
I don't know if that one.
Missing.
I mean, do you
Mike-
really have to recuse
Mike
yourself since
Stevens
you
and-
don't work for them?
Get tied up in this one way or the
We
other.
need one more.
Yeah, we're missing Mike Stevens
Yeah,
and
we're missing
Ed.
one. But we could, let's still look at it. We don't have to vote on it, but
It's not on the review board anymore, Marty says.
Yes.
No, I didn't know that, sorry.
Says he's not, so
Went to the BZA.
Oh,
does that mean that the quorum without Ed, you don't have quorum then? Because we don't have.
You have 50 days.
when do we get a replacement?
That is Joe Locke
So there's
question.
six.
There's
Seven now.
six.
And so there's,
So you have 50.
we have three.
I think you're
Is that right?
Oh, you're right. Right, of total count? Yeah, because we haven't replaced,
Ed yet. There's back to six people.
right.
well, let's you do it.
think
And
we
if
have
not, we
three.
can notify them. We don't have. I'll ask.
Okay.
I'll double check with the city attorneys to make sure that
Mhm.
it's
Sure.
Right.
legal.
I do not want to get in trouble. Okay, Verizon Wireless. Come on down.
Take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, we should look at it, definitely.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Alewine. I'm an attorney with Troutman Sanders, and my address is 600 Peachtree Street, Suite 5200, Atlanta, Georgia, 30308.
Does Bob Grout still exist?
Yes, well, he's retired, but I actually at the same club, so I see him all the time, luckily. He's a great guy. Good evening. I'm here representing Verizon. We'd like to do a co-location of Verizon buildings, Verizon headquarters on Verizon-owned property. Basically, this is both a capacity and coverage site. The two sites to the left and the right of this property, the Windward and the Leeward sites, overburdened, because obviously so much going on in this area and can't handle the capacity. And so what happens then is they pull too far, and that means that you're not having good service in the middle or on either side. And Verizon's engineers, who obviously are working on site at their headquarters, are very interested in having good service at their headquarters, and have figured out if they can mount some antennas at the top of their own building, that would alleviate the issue. It'll improve coverage and reduce capacity, thereby providing better sites to better service by both of the other sites to the left and the right. They're applying for two antennas, one and one set of antennas on building 3. The antennas are below the penthouse level, so they're above the building, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be able to reflect service below the actual penthouse line. I do some photo simulations. You can barely see the antennas at all. I'm happy to go over this with you guys or answer any questions that you may have. Also, just as my legal opinion, it's quorum is based on the number of members you have at that time. So if you didn't have one, and certainly check with the city attorney, but
6
if
members
you have 6
currently.
members.
Officially, we lost Ed.
7 until.
I know what you're saying, it hasn't been
We
reappointed
lost
yet,
Ed, so 3 might get.
Okay.
but certainly,
It'd only be if there's a glitch, then we'd have to ask you to come back.
that would be happy to do.
Personally, I do not have any issues with it at all.
I have some concerns.
Okay,
All right, so with antennas, they're both they're right up against the facade, exterior elevation, they're not internal on the roof. So you will be able to see them from the ground. And I know that there's a lot of antennas that are out there that are just camouflage style antennas.
Right.
They're much more camouflage looking. So I was, I'm against the antenna being there, but can't we get something that looks more camouflaged or incorporate?
Monolithic. So just one pole.
Very tiny. They're the least obtrusive types of antennas we can use here. Let me also please point out that the entire lot, which I'm happy to show you on my photo simulations, is completely landscaped, and so the only people who would be able to see Verizon antennas would be the Verizon employees walking in and out of their own building. These are the standard type of antennas we use in buildings all over Atlanta. When you start to camouflage them, I've actually haven't seen the camouflaged antennas on top of buildings, but if you put anything on top of an antenna, you're reducing the signal, right? Because it's got to get through whatever that coverage is in order to get out. And so it's a really not our preferred method in order to be able to provide the best
Is there
service.
any way to push the antenna back away from the
No,
edge?
you have to actually be on that edge, and then you can see, I'll show you on here how they're down tilted. That's how they're able to provide the service they need. So they have to be, this is as far as they can go, and then see how they're just slightly down tilted. If you put it further back here, they'll be providing service, it'd be blocked by the building. You have to be here so that the signal can get out of that.
My recommendation to the board would be to do something more camouflage, because what happens is if we start approving antennas that are like this, you're going to end up with more antennas. And just
My only thought is
that
that
they have a big harsh visual impact. If you see it at Deerfield, or, I mean, they're high up on the building, you'll have winter views and things like that through the parking lot. It might not have summer winter views. And I think they take away from the aesthetic. There are other options on camouflage antennas. Not to say we shouldn't have antennas, just to say that they should be more, they could be more visually buffered.
May I pass out photo simulations that we prepared that
Sure.
you cannot see the antennas?
Yeah, I think they have these.
Yeah, there's only one picture where you can see a tiny bit from right at the bottom of the building, but everywhere you can't see them at all.
You know what the dimension width of these antennas would be?
Yes, they are, all right, hold on one second. The antennas themselves are, I believe, 10 feet, but let me just double check for a second.
Yep.
I think they're about 2 feet and then 10 feet long. That's what it looks
So
like
they're
from
2
this
feet in
engine.
diameter?
But yes, well, they're
Width.
rectangles, yeah.
Okay, but they're
exactly.
2,
Yeah.
But then they're also going to need a concurrent variance on these, because they exceed the height that code would allow. So when that's looking at the aesthetic, I mean, it's also going to, if it gets approved here, then there's a concurrent variance for.
you know, this is
That's why
another
I'd like
area
to see
that,
it camouflaged if I can, because then really don't, we've, I mean, if it's there are other options.
I mean, I can see a
Verizon.
tree being camouflaged, but you don't have
On the
trees on top
ground,
of buildings.
exactly. I'm not familiar, and I've been doing this for Verizon for 14 years, of any type of antennas roof mounted like this that are camouflaged, because these are just basically the antennas themselves. The antenna sectors are all that's going on top of the building. When you have a tower and you disguise it in a tree, you're putting up a pole, you're putting up all the limbs, and then these same antenna sectors are inside of there. And so the branches cover it. That's how you best camouflage a tower. On top of a roof, you can't put anything around those antennas. So I'm not sure. I mean, they'll be painted the same colors of penthouse and the same colors of roof line. So they're camouflaged in the painting.
They put antennas on buildings all the time and more camouflaged, and they integrate them into the architecture somehow. I mean, these are just put on.
In order for me to have an opinion, I would have to see what that means, but
Yeah, I'm wondering,
sometimes I think less is more. I mean, like power lines, I think personally power lines are the ugliest thing we have, yet we don't really even notice them as we drive down the road, because we don't. Well, you do, but you don't. I mean, it's,
better to bury, but that's
well, it
just
is,
a
but
different
What if these
issue.
were painted darker?
I was saying, yeah, that's where I was headed, like painted like the tree right next to it.
Dark. Or
Yeah.
dark green or
Right.
something dark.
Yeah, that's,
Maybe black or black.
I think it's actually more conspicuous, yeah,
Black might be better.
maybe.
Would be better, your greens never work.
No,
No matter what shade of green, it does not work.
I think maybe black.
Black would be
It's like painting it blue, like the sky. It
a
doesn't
little
work.
apprehensive on.
I think black would disappear.
Yeah, I think, right, I think it
I
would.
think if it's painted the same color as the building itself, it would be.
Well, that's what
less.
it is there, and you can still kind of see it,
I'd go with dark.
yeah.
We can paint it whatever color you want, really. So that's up to you guys.
Well, listen, it's not an argument thing for me, so if everybody else likes black, then I'm good.
That looks like a tree maybe growing on the roof. I would do black. I'd just paint black or something. That would be my vote.
Yeah,
I'm thinking a lightning bolt.
So
So,
I think black would help. In this particular case, we have to do these on a case-by-case basis if they come up in the future. There may not be every one of these approved, it might be. This one is so surrounded by trees, it looks
right,
like black will work, but
yeah.
we may get other ones in front of us.
Yeah,
where
I
they're really
mean, their property, so there's so many woods over their buildings. I mean, I think you really, unless you're in a helicopter,
I just know in the future.
might be tough to see it.
Come up again, be able to do the same thing here, but I think the black will work in this case. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
hey, black works for me.
You want a
Works.
motion?
Would you like to
It's
make a
final
motion?
review. I need a motion and approval.
Pardon me?
It's a final review and a motion.
Okay.
Okay.
She makes a good motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Verizon Wireless rooftop antenna with the condition that the color be, we just say, approved by the chief, by our architect.
Okay. You can submit in a color and we'll approve it.
Dark.
A dark color, but we'll let our architect, city architect,
Just for some reason, if you can't use a pure black.
make the final
But
decision.
a dark color is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'll just
Can-
say
second.
I'll second that.
Then all three of us vote in favor.
Aye.
Nice, thank you so much.
You guys need to behave.
Tim.
That was painful.
Is this the same Walmart we're discussing about the parking lot?
I think so.
Good.
Hello, good evening, honorable board members. My name is Amy Hillman, Tatum, Hillman, and Powell, and I'm here on behalf of Walmart Stores, Inc. and Walmart Real Estate Business Trust. And yes, we are talking about the same shopping center, which I don't know if that's going to end up being a blessing or a curse that everybody's so familiar with it, but it will probably cut down on my presentation and explaining time.
That store needs to be up.
You get that? Okay. That will be related to Walmart. What we're here today for is to get this board's commentary on a proposed variance to allow an additional sign. One thing that Walmart is doing now to be more competitive with the way retailing has evolved, definitely in the past 10 years and more in the past 3-4 years, is with the online component. And we have finally reached that point where the American consumer buys really more things online than they do in brick and mortar stores. So to be competitive and to keep stores vibrant, Walmart has developed a new pickup for groceries and things like that, so that the consumer can go, drive right up to the store, have ordered online, groceries loaded in their car, thereby saving precious time. Sometimes it can be a lot to walk all the way through the store if you just want a few things, or if you're in a hurry and come in from a meeting. So we feel like this is going to be something that's very beneficial to the citizens of Newton, from a convenience perspective, and we feel like it's necessary to keep this store vibrant and competitive in today's retail market. Some of the early feedback that we've had from customers that this concept has been rolled out is they get confused about where to go. So they'll go in and go to the customer service desk, and then maybe they get sent back to the layaway or the store pickup for big items. And at that point, they've gone to 3 different places, to get their pickup. So that's why I think it's very important for us to be able to have this additional sign. It does exceed the number of signs that would be allowed under the code. We feel like there's mitigating circumstances. Really, the way that the shopping center is situated, as you saw from the previous site plan, it's got a ring of out parcels in front of it that shield the building. We also have a decent canopy. And it's interesting to me when I have a little PowerPoint where I kind of walked from the Highway 9 entrance all the way around to the Windward Park entrance, and did it before leaves had started coming out this spring. This was, the pictures were taken back in winter. And I remember thinking, well, it's a shame that we don't have, leaves there to show the board exactly what we see for most of the year. But what I found was because the store sits low grade from Highway 9, because it's shielded from all the out parcels in front of it, that really extra building sign is going to have, it's barely going to be seen from the road, especially when trees have their leaves, but it's going to serve more as a wayfinding sign once you get in the shopping center and you're looking at Walmart and you want to get your pickup and get on your way, where do I go now? And that's the point of the sign. Is a 67.04 square foot sign, but even with that addition, the entire building sign is still below 5%, and we're at the increase that is being requested less than 1%. It's about 0.5%, actually. So I know you're very familiar with that. I'm happy to go through the pictures that we took back in the winter, if you'd like to see them.
You're up.
Where's the,
We lost you.
It says your roadway sign that has Walmart currently on it, let's say the highway one that you're going down the hill there. Is that the sign you're talking about? You're going to change that sign as well so that you can pick up and make that sign bigger, or?
monument sign
The
on the road?
monument
No, we're not asking for that. We're just asking to, and I'm afraid I'm not seeing the button that I need to make, here we go.
You need help?
I think I've got it. Okay.
You got clicker, right?
Yeah, got the clicker. So this is from the highway entrance. I'm looking north on 9, and the store would be on the right-hand side.
over here.
Oh, I wouldn't care about that.
And this is as you walk around. So it would be on the corner of the store behind the tree. And so, and this is what they look like, the architects have a couple of pictures with more mature foliage out.
Yes.
It'll be
So really
right-
and truly, that's just the access road between Fry's and be the
Yes,
liquor
sir.
store.
And this little building sign is going to be, it's about
The car wash
300
box, all of it.
about 330 feet from Highway 9 and even further than that, obviously, from Windward Parkway. So what you can see from this is just that even when there's no leaves on it, it's pretty hard to see the store.
Yeah, it is.
All the other out parcels are looking through.
Do you have a picture
There's
of
your
what,
Chick-fil-A.
do you have a picture of what the sign will look like? I didn't see it in this packet.
It is in the packet.
I see the black and white of it.
Oh, it'll be white, just like the rest of building signage.
Will it be lit?
Yes.
Oh, okay, there it is.
So the pickup will be in white, and the spark would be in that yellowy gold color, the same as
And
the.
the wall will be orange.
Pardon me?
The wall is going to be orange.
it looks like the wall is orange.
Okay. So the question I have is to our city staff is, what does this violate, if anything? And
Well,
From
my
aesthetics.
concern on this is, I can see the need for the wall sign, but I think that they also have painted signs on the pavement that say pick up, pick up, pick up as you're driving through. So it's sort of like, we're giving them, we'd be recommending giving them a variance to have an additional sign, but we also have all these parking lot signs, so that, it's just getting, there's a lot of signs
So
that are in there, and
the painted signs will go on the actual concrete, like on the road?
the painted signs are on the asphalt now that say pick up, pick up, pick up, so
Does that constitute a sign?
that's what I'm saying, but you sort of have all that as wayfinding. So it'd almost be like, would they be willing to, I would support the additional wall sign if you got rid of
The other signs that are out there now,
the
I
other
think
signs
that's
that are
something that can be
in
worked
the
out.
parking lot,
Yeah.
because there's just, I guess they were trying to get people there, and that was the way to do it before they can get to the wall.
Or we could get, yeah,
But if we get
they
rid of
pulled it
the-
out already, so now
Yeah.
we're just trying to get
So
people,
if we get rid of the parking lot painted ones,
okay.
then I think it's more appropriate to have a nice wall sign.
Yeah,
To support a beautiful wall sign that says it, than it is to have all these painted signs.
But I do think you still should have some signage on looking at the store on the right side of the store, because if you're over here on the right side of the store, you will not necessarily be able to see this left side where the pickup thing is. So there should be some
that's-
wayfinding on the other side over here.
I know we don't want to change the monument sign, but there's got to be something that directs people from roads to it. Even if it's small, it's got to be, you got to have some way to see, because the only way I'm going to go there is because I drive in front of Walmart and say, oh, there's the orange.
Or in the online experience, when someone's actually placing the order, you flash up
Yes.
a picture of it so they know exactly where to go.
Exactly, so they know
True
where to
IT
go.
professional right there.
I'll be honest, usually when when I come in for a sign variance, I'm looking to, on my box and ask for as little as I possibly can for relief. But, if the suggestion that you'd like me to take back to Walmart is that you'd like to see them, also add something to a monument sign, we can certainly do that, although
Well,
that would bring me back.
that's just one person's opinion. So
Okay.
that may not be the opinion of the rest.
I'm just saying that the actual signs, to me, are nicer. I think they look like signs, and they're appropriately, would be, responded to.
But I would
by the
imagine,
public
isn't this thing a color-coded kind of idea? They've got a color coding system to it
Maybe
to
in
follow
the area where you
do you know what I
actually
mean?
physically
Like,
do the
if orange
pickup,
is the
but
color,
to have, you drive into
follow
the
the
parking
orange
lot,
dots,
to
basically.
drive through the parking lot and see pick up, pick up, pick up, it kind of,
Yeah, but when you come off of Highway 9, when you come down the hill, is there a stop sign right there?
Yes.
Okay, so if you've got a stop bar, it'll be.
I
You'll
think it's on
see the
highway.
If you're
sign
coming in from
more.
the
Windward
Chick-fil-A side,
yeah.
But on the windward side, you don't know where the pickup is.
yeah.
Well, I drove through there today, and I think there are the two signs painted on the asphalt, and I think 7 or 8 free signs, anywhere from Chick-fil-A, Arby's, to the garden center, and scattered throughout the parking lot. I noticed those signs far sooner than I noticed a sign on the wall. The trees will hide that sign, eventually hide that sign on the wall, but
But that's why I'm saying, like at the stop sign, some sort of directionals for pickup or something that would make it.
the directions out there now
The
are signs, I
directionals.
believe.
but the
I haven't
wall
looked.
sign also drives awareness from a product standpoint that, hey, I can do online and pick it up here.
So I don't have a problem with the wall sign where they've got it, because it's hidden by the car wash, it's hidden by the trees, it's.
Yeah, when you get to the store, though, you need to know, instead of going in, I need to go over there.
Yeah,
Who wants to go
And
in
they
if my
do
stuff's
have-
there?
They do have signs throughout the parking lot, that are signs that say pick up, pick up. I'm talking about the ones that they put on the asphalt. I think there were
You're
two
talking about the ones painted on the
on the physical
asphalt.
asphalt. I think
Okay.
there were 2 that I would request the board to say, like, recommend that they, or let the applicant say, yes, we would remove those. Because the other signs are nicer, you're driving, you're kind of seeing them. The asphalt ones, to me, are,
But one of the things that would be really good, Bob, is if we saw a plan as to how our citizens are going to see this, how is it going to help them? A sign's a sign. the question's got to be asked, if you're coming from Wynwood, how do you know? What does it look like? How do you drive? Like, for example, I don't go to Walmart any more than my wife will make me go. But I've yet to ever see a pickup sign. Now, it could be that I am old and blind and don't look for those kinds of things.
Or you didn't order online and you're.
Well, I don't order anything online.
Yeah. Or you went to a store that didn't offer the
Well,
online
Walmart
pickup.
always has the opportunity, instead of going in for a variance, they could sit with staff and say that they just want to do a master sign plan for their
See, I think that makes more sense to me.
store, and then it would give you the opportunity to actually lay out signs everywhere you want signs and to
You'll
show
see
how
pickup
things are going to be integrated together.
Well,
And then we'd be able to look at that, because in a master sign plan, they have much more flexibility on the signs, because then we would say, okay, all the signs have to kind of have some sort of style to them and look like real.
See, that's where
wayfinding
my
signs and
theme's
people
going, is that if you,
driving, and that's what I was afraid of with the asphalt, because they're kind of
You want to
painted
see
on.
them, you
and
want to see the
cheaper.
applicant come back with a, here's the plot of the thing you want to see. Here's your, where's your other signage?
Right,
There
they
are
could do
three
they could do a
entrances
master sign
forward.
plan for the whole facility and say, look, we need wayfinding to get you in. This is what we're looking to do, and really enhance the whole signage package. But the signs wouldn't be done individually. They would have to have a certain style. All the signs start to look like a certain style.
The reality, though, Bob, is that Walmart pays folks to review city ordinances and hire folks like these folks to come here and present this. They're aware of a master sign ordinance. If they're not, I'm certain that they'll make their client aware of that situation. I don't think we need to do that. They've requested to review this sign for this situation. Yes, they can certainly go down this. If they want to go down this master plan, they can do that. But the question before us is not, what's the best form of government here? The question before us is, do we like this sign or not? I don't want to go too far down the weeds, I guess is my point.
I don't have a problem with the sign. I still think it would still be in the better interest of the public if there was a plan that represents each entrance into this building that directs people to where they need to go. And I think sticking a sign on the side of a building.
You can put a sign, like Rich said, even though he doesn't think that we should be talking about government. You did bring up the point that you're going to have a sign on one side of the building, but the whole approach from
Right.
the other side, you're not
That's,
going to see it.
that is their problem. They are aware of the options before
Maybe
them.
they would want to see a master sign plan where they would really be able to kind of look at all this and say, well, we're really best be suited, and look at it and get a master sign approval on locations and styles, and really enhance the signage of the whole place. If you just want the one,
I think one thing that, this wall sign offers the advantage of is most people, when they visit a Walmart, they're right out in front. In fact, people will drive up and down, so it's one of the first 10 spots, right? You don't usually have an interface with the side or the rear of the store, which is what we want for a lot of reasons, for security reasons, for loss control reasons. So unless you've got a garden center, then you're on the side, but that's also confined. And, I think that by differentiating that corner a little bit, we're sending one of those visual cues that tells people, okay, yeah, you are supposed to be here on the side of the building, because that's different. That's not what the customer is used to when they visit a Walmart.
well, the options there, if you wanted to do a master, then you can look at all of them. If you can just look at this individual one.
Okay.
No comment on the individual.
Because they've got bays over there to do.
They at least have the car audio stuff.
It's a cardio and stuff.
One question I had, just regarding this sign versus the sign from the entrance, from 409, did Walmart change their logo design? Because the colors, you've got blue on this side, this sign's got white with gold, but
It's blue background with white letters.
is this one blue background as well? I don't think it
It's gonna
is.
be white letters.
White letters, gold spark.
Right,
The gold spark is consistent with your.
Correct.
website.
yeah, I'm just saying
So Walmart's trying to basically differentiate, make that a separate business, essentially.
I mean, yes, it should be a separate shopping experience for it to work, right? It has to be different.
Okay.
As I said, I was okay with the sign. I think they should eradicate the ones that are painted, because those aren't really a high-quality type of sign. I think we just did it there, try to get people there initially, but I don't really encourage signs on the, painted on the drive aisle as a sign. To me, those are signs as well, and they really don't belong there. I want real signage.
We can
That was my only
agree to
comment.
remove that. Absolutely. And I remember seeing that when I was driving, thinking, okay. So that's fine. We can agree to remove those.
Okay, so Bob, have you got all our comments?
I do.
This is a courtesy review, and Amy, are you happy with the resolution to this?
I guess so, yes. Absolutely.
And if Amy's happy, then we can move on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. Any new business? Nope. Oh, Ed is no longer on the board. He moved over to the BZA.
Yes.
Got promoted or demoted? Which is it?
And I'm not real sure. So there is no old business that I'm aware of.
What about the,
Yeah,
what?
actually, there was from the last meeting regarding the sidewalks in front of Phoenix Senior Living. What
Yeah,
the-
we looked into that, and what they did on that approval was they said that we were going to hold off on installing sidewalks until they do the embellishment of Highway 9. So they did put money in the fund to do it, because they're not getting away without building the
Well-
sidewalks. It's just that it's not going to happen until, because they're going to raise that grade 5 feet.
Yeah,
And that whole grade is coming up 5 feet, so it's really like a sidewalk to nowhere. It didn't go anywhere. It would have just been a segmented sidewalk. So they said, they put the money in the fund, they said, well, we'll just construct it when they do the Highway 9.
well, I can tell you what the feedback is from the Highway 9 communities, is they just don't believe that it's ever going to get done, and that if there's any more development, the sidewalks should go in regardless where they should be.
Well,
I mean,
it went through
people
DRB,
are-
but when we did
People are very
Pike,
adamant
I will
about
tell
it.
you, when we did Pike,
Well, I know,
DRB board did say they wanted sidewalks, and they're putting them in.
but there's people from Crooked Creek and the other communities up Highway 9 who run and walk and take their kids, and then
Agreed.
they're stuck.
I'm not the one who made the.
So our whole connectivity plan doesn't exist, and people, they're frustrated about that, and so, so my answer is, well, I'm not really sure why that didn't get
Well, I will
built.
say that every project that's going to go on Highway 9 comes before the DRB.
There are no
It's like
sidewalks.
Pike, what you have to do is, you'll make it a point as part of your approval, like you did on Pike, that the sidewalk, even if it's temporary, has to be, just what we did with Pike, we put in a temporary sidewalk.
Yeah, I
We'll do
think,
this- I
But who
mean,
would be
every project
responsible to
does
put
come
the
in front of
sidewalk back
DRB
once-
when it comes in front of the Highway 9,
Probably come as part of the.
they'll all be DRB reviewed. So we'll just make sure that the DRB requires it, like you did with Pike, and we'll put them in.
yeah, because
think
I've
it-
had comments, people are just, they're frustrated
agree.
that there's no sidewalk.
I agree, Highway 9 should absolutely have sidewalk connectivity. I mean, it's-
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you, but if it's a contiguous all the way up,
Yeah,
not bits and pieces, because the property.
I think that personally looks
doesn't have
worse.
it.
right. It just, what I don't understand is, and we've talked about this for years, that this is a thoroughfare corridor with lots of business, and the fact that we can't finish the sidewalk in that area, that should have been the first place the city just said, we're going to take some funds and just get it done. Because we know the DOT is going to put the highway. We've known this for years. So I'm just saying, this is what folks in that area, that is a big frustration for them. And frankly, it's dangerous on some of these uneven areas. If you've got kids in strollers or you're walking, somebody's going to get hurt, and who's going to get sued for that?
For the individual developer, if they put money in the city fund to be able to build the sidewalks, and we can attach that sidewalk to something else, I'm all for that. But to put a sidewalk that does not attach to another sidewalk and that we know is going to be torn down in a matter of a couple of years,
I'm sorry, Marty, you and I are on totally two different planes, because we've been a city for a while now. We need to act like a city, and part of having a city is you have sidewalks. You know what? I have a private gated community. We have sidewalks, we take care of them. The city needs to do the same dang thing. I mean, it behooves us. And I'm sorry, I lived in Denver for many years, and this whole thing about, developers and that, you know what Denver does? They make all the infrastructure happen before anyone gets to build anything, including a road, a thoroughfare, a sewer, anything. You can't even do anything. You know what? That's smart development. We don't have that here.
I would like a sidewalk going from Milton High School to my house.
Well,
But it
what
won't
about all the
happen.
kids in Cambridge who walk up through all the communities, up through Crooked Creek and north to the Forsyth County line?
We have the same problem, though, on Freemanville Road.
I agree. I
Same problem.
agree. I totally
I guess
agree.
the only difference between you and I is that I don't like to see money wasted on building something that's just going to be torn down. Now, if
It's
the
going to be
developer,
torn down. We know where the highway's going. We know what the
it's 5
borders
feet
are.
above,
We know exactly where it is. We know where it's going.
so do you build the sidewalk up 5 feet?
Well, and I don't think you can say just because you're a city that sidewalks are the end-all be-all and expected. I mean, I personally, if I drive down Freemanville or Hopewell or any of those, I don't want to see sidewalks on those. I want to see a rural look.
And that
Well,
is
we're
part
not
of
in
the
a
community.
rural area. We're in a commercial area. Therefore, people do want sidewalks. And that's just the way it is. So
But,
I'm just telling you.
Put a sidewalk in that doesn't connect anything, though.
See, I would be absolutely in agreement with you, Laura. If
You know
that
what? We've
sidewalk
been hearing the
connected-
DOT BS for years. People are tired of it. Georgia DOT
But we can't
doesn't
control
have
them.
any money. It
But we
won't get
can't control
done.
them.
We don't need to play their game. Then let's get sidewalks in. You're going to wait for them until hell freezes over. It's just not going to happen. You got to act like a city. Part of servicing your residents is providing them with a walkway that's safe. If somebody falls, somebody's going to get sued. That's going to end up probably being the city. So FYI, I deal with the tornado every day. I'm just telling you. As soon as somebody gets hurt, it's going to be on somebody.
Like in the subdivision down the street from me? Is it what, Lake Haven? Okay. Lake Haven has sidewalks. It has sidewalks from the property start to where property ends. But it doesn't go anywhere else except for right there. And to me, that is stupid and should have never been done that way. Because the reality of it is it doesn't go anywhere. And I've yet to ever see a person walk on that sidewalk, only because it is a sidewalk to nowhere. And so I'm against building sidewalks. I agree with you. I think that if we want to have a sidewalk, and let's say we want to connect, your community to Bethany, and
I'm not talking.
But I'm
it
choosing
doesn't.
as an
It has nothing
example.
to do with Crooked Creek. If you look at Highway 9, go from us as you drive into Alpharetta, they're putting in all sidewalks.
they're also more.
They're not much more developed than we are on Highway 9.
Well, if I can just,
But
interject,
anyways.
each project that will be done on Highway 9 will come before this board. So I guess, who was it that said we can do things, I guess you look at them case by case as they're coming in. And like Pike, we thought it was, I guess the board thought it was appropriate to put them in, and the applicant agreed to put them in, even on a temporary basis. So I think each project that comes in, we could just look at it, and the board can, request it or
I mean,
require
was it part of our discussion with Phoenix that because it was going to be that was going to rise 5 feet from that level, and it's actually going to happen sooner than what we thought it was going to happen? That they're already underway with the plans of it, and it was, if they put the money in the fund, and we'd have more to.
At the time it came in front of the DRB, the sidewalk was not, it was noted that the sidewalk wouldn't be constructed. And that's the way it was approved on the LDP. So that's what I'm saying, when they come before, and then notice it, and now that when Pike came in, Laura raised the issue, I believe, and we said, we need to put them in.
Let me ask you.
And they're not putting them in at full width, they're not putting them in as designed, they're just putting them in a little narrower, knowing that they'll be removed, but there is a physical connection with Pike.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, the starting place for a city, why can't we pick certain areas and say, we're going to make this sidewalk go from here to here, and this connects these two things?
We have a rail plan ready and sidewalk plans already. It's just a matter of that particular road is getting rebuilt and moved. So the conversation comes up as how much do you do on the interim? But again, they'll come before the board on a case-by-case basis, and you all can decide whether you think a sidewalk's appropriate. And if you do, we'll put them in. I mean, it's always up to the board.
I mean, my suggestion would be, I think what frustrates residents is that, they've been told, yeah, I understand, we're supposed to get this, I heard we're going to get Highway 9, blah, blah, blah. It never happens. And so I would urge folks to communicate better to that corridor what the heck is going on with a plan. Transportation, that would be helpful. This is going to happen this date, this date, this date. And if you can't give dates, then I
Yeah,
think you
do
got to have a
have it.
better
If
idea.
you look at our website, I can get you a link. It shows all the drawings. All the drawings are in there where the medians are, the sidewalks.
Oh, no, I've
It's all on
looked
the
at it.
city of Rome website. You can go down and pull them up, and they'll show you the segments, and you can look at each one. Because we were looking at the 5-acre lots today, so we pulled them all up, and they were all in there, so. I mean, there's a lot of
I'm
land
just saying-
acquisition that has to be done, and it's what takes the longest amount of time. You have to stop purchasing.
I wanted, since Lake Haven got sidewalks, I want sidewalks to go the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Segues for everybody involved.
What about the,
Those
what
would be
about
pretty neat.
sidewalks during
I like
Crabapple?
that.
What about the ones at Crabapple?
Yeah, we ain't got any down there.
Library, what's going on with that situation?
That was in there, it's been approved, and it's been funded, and it's just, I think they're waiting for the intersection work to get, the real intersection work to get done. They were gonna do intersection work first, then they were gonna do the roundabouts first, and then they flipped to doing the road first, so now they're doing the road, that's here.
I see.
Then they're gonna flip to the roundabouts and get them open, and then we're gonna flip to the intersection.
So a long time from now.
That doesn't sound very promising.
That's.
How's Gaston coming on his building? How's John Gaston coming on that building?
That's why we love you. You make it so simple. You just kind of cut through it.
So where on Gaston's building?
But there's also a lot of discussion, I know this is your area, that even on pedestrian connectivity, because with GDOT, they haven't really incorporated a lot of pedestrian connectivity through these roads, but they've done and turned them over. The city is studying different pedestrian crosswalk areas.
Gotta have a crosswalk.
I agree. And so it's something that I've been looking at with Carter now, and we've been starting to study where these crosswalks should be.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out what other kinds, so we did the master plan, which hasn't been approved yet by council, but it's some meetings. I think we did
Concept plan?
The concept plan. But even there, I mean, that's concept only. I mean, we really got to sit with the community, because even during those meetings, the public was coming in saying, this is where my kids walk to school and how they walk to school. Yeah. So we got a lot of input from that, which was great. And so we're studying that again and really looking at how to make these connections, because a lot of kids here, children, really walk to school, which is great. I mean, I think that's wonderful. We have a really, truly walkable community downtown here. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure we keep that with the architecture.
I think if you can't get from here to that side of the road or that side of the road,
it's not gonna
fatally
work.
flawed, yeah.
Oh, and other jurisdictions have done nice, with blinking
Alfreda's got
lights.
that thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's not the answer totally, but they've done it, right? I mean, it's one.
State road.
What I'd
middle
like
of
to
the-
do is,
yeah.
we'll ultimately get all these options on the table and then bring it back to the community and say, which ones do you think would be best, to have the community sort of make some decisions too. So between working with everybody, we are trying to look at some cross connection there too. So it's the Highway 9 corridor is big, and Crabapple area is definitely big, which we're trying to work on as well. So
What was the pushback on the Hopewell